welcome everyone to the annual Alumni Award celebration and keynote session, Lessons from Woody and Oxy Retrospective. I'm glad to see so many people here on this warm afternoon. I'm Brenda Barham Hill, class of 71, and parent 03. Particularly proud of the 03, but both. Since 1965, the Alumni Association has paid tribute to inspiring alumni who represent the values and the core spirit of Occidental experience. Seal Awards are given annually in the categories of service to community, professional achievement, service to the college, young alumni achievement, emeriti faculty, and alumna or alumnus of the year. Today, we're honored to be joined by President Harry Elam to give the awards this year, and I welcome him to the podium. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today because alumni play such an important role with the college. And the alumni we're honoring today uphold the values of the college, and I have the privilege of celebrating them with you. So, our first Alumni Seal Award is to honor professional achievement, and this year's recipient is Don Callahan. Don Callahan, class of 2009. We are proud to honor Don for her incredible service as a top physician in the U.S. Navy. U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander Don Callahan currently serves as the Group Surgeon for Commander Naval Station Group Mid-Pacific Base in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. In her role, Don is responsible for the medical care of 3,500 sailors. A biochemistry major at Oxy, Don attended medical school at the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland, and became a board-certified family physician after her residency at Fort Belvoir Community Hospital in Virginia. She and her family were then assigned to the Naval Health Clinic Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, where as a team division officer, she led a team of 18 staffers providing care to 6,000 Navy personnel and their families. Don also served as one of 2 sexual assault medical forensic examiners for the entire command and provided medical direction and oversight to 47 emergency medical technicians and paramedics serving Oahu military installations. Last year, she was named a Fellow of the American Academy of Family Physicians, the first year she was eligible. While at Oxy, Don was editor-in-chief of La Encina Yearbook, played with the Caltech Oxy Concert Band at Carnegie Hall, and studied abroad in South Africa. She was the class speaker at graduation and received the Lucille Y. Gilman Award for the class of 2009. Don, welcome back to campus, and congratulations on receiving the Alumni Seal Award for Professional Achievement. Don, you can say something if you'd like. We're holding everybody to 1 minute.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today, and thank you for those who are watching from home. I'm just so humbled and so very proud. When you read that, it doesn't even sound real. But it's very surreal to be back at such a magical place in my life. It seems like yesterday and a lifetime ago at the same time that I was at a podium very similar to this, giving our graduation speech. Being back, I was talking to many of the alumni today. It's the smells of Oxy just bring us right back. The smell of the eucalyptus, the smell of the marketplace. It's just so wonderful to be back. A few thank yous. Thank you, President Elam and the entire Board of Governors for this acknowledgement. Thank you to my friends and family who are here. and watching from home. I'm just very proud. Thank you.
I've got to say, I love that notion of the smells of Oxy. Our next Alumni Seal Award recipient for professional achievement is Luis A. Sispedes, class of '74. The award is to honor his distinguished legal career serving California. Luis could not be here today, but I will read the background to honor his award. Luis A. Sispedes has served as Judicial Appointments Secretary to California Governor Gavin Newsom since 2000. The appointment is the latest step in a legal career dedicated to equity, justice, and inclusion. A political science major at Oxy, Luis earned both his undergraduate degree in political science and his master's in urban studies before obtaining his law degree from UC Berkeley. He has held a variety of positions with the California State Legislature, including with Assembly Speaker Leo T. McCarthy of San Francisco, Assembly Member Vic Fazio of Sacramento, and the Assembly Health Committee. He has also worked for the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, and in private practice, litigated employment discrimination claims in state and federal court, and Unruh Act civil rights violations, among other cases. Luis was named Distinguished Attorney of the Year during the Sacramento County Bar Association's centennial celebration back in 2008. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, he could not join us this weekend, so we accept the Alumni Seal Award for professional achievement on his behalf. Our next Alumni Seal Award is for service to the college. And this year's recipient is Ray Yen, class of 1982. Ray is currently Medical Director of Cardiology for Evacor Healthcare, even as he has forged his impressive career in medicine, including 21 years in private cardiology practice. Ray has been singularly committed to serving his alma mater. Living and practicing in nearby Pasadena area, Ray was inevitably drawn to give back to Oxy through volunteering. He served on the Alumni Association Board of Governors from 2011 to 2013 and as BOG president in 2014. That year, he was also named to the Occidental College Board of Trustees. He served on the Alumni Council from 2015 to 2021 and has been chair of the Oxy Fund since 2018. In addition to serving the college in these important capacities, Ray has done everything from hosting new admitted student parties to mentoring students through Oxy's Walk in My Shoes mentor program. Ray, we are so thankful for all you've done for Occidental, and I am honored to present you with this year's Alumni Seal for service to the college.
Hi, guys. If you think I'm hot, you're right. Thank you. So, first order of business, I want to acknowledge my wife, Mary, who's here today. And without her support and partnership, I could not have done all the volunteering that I did over the years. And of course, thank you, Board of Governors, for this recognition. Having been on the Board of Governors myself, I appreciate the work that you do year-round to make sure the alumni are connected and engaged with the college, so that Occidental College can say that we have one of the most vibrant alumni body of any school, any size. So thank you, Board of Governors. And, you know, I'm asked often why I do all this volunteering, and, you know, I've been telling people it's just a lot of fun and giving back. And recently I've had the privilege of giving some closing remarks to the Apita graduates. And in the process of thinking about that, I realized the reason I do all this volunteering is because I'm getting a lot out of it myself. My Oxy education did not end with graduation. It has continued, and it has made me better informed about the world outside of medicine, and it has basically made me a better person. And lastly, I just want to say something about Professor Studenmund. When I found out that I would be sharing this occasion with Woody, I was pleasantly surprised because you may not know this, but I majored in econ when I was at Oxy, so I took a lot of classes by Woody. And he is the most impactful professor of my Oxy education. And you know, I thought about getting granular about what you taught me, but I don't think I can hold it together emotionally if I did that. So suffice to say that not a day goes by that the lessons you taught me don't get replayed in my head, especially when I'm trying to explain the economy or what's going on in the world around us. So Woody, you probably don't hear this from too many of your former students, but because of you, I'm a better doctor than I would have been otherwise. So thank you, BOG. Thank you, Oxy. Io Triumphi.
Thanks, Ray. Our next Alumni Seal Award is for service to the community. And today, we present this award to Clarissa Martinez de Castro, class of 1989. This award is for her commitment to advancing the civil rights of the Latina community. Clarissa is passionate about strengthening civil society. As Deputy Vice President for Policy and Advocacy at Unidos, U.S., the largest national Latino civil rights and advocacy organization, she oversees efforts to advance fair and effective immigration policies and to expand Latino civic engagement by helping immigrants become citizens, citizens become voters, and the community overall to become active participants in policy debates. She has advocated at the federal and state levels on issues of impacting Latinos, while extensive experience overseeing and developing polling projects on Latino voters and issues impacting the community. And she also designed Rise Above, a pilot initiative to build a positive, accurate narrative of our changing America that fosters collaboration and collaborative action. She has produced reports and articles on the Latino electorate and testified at congressional hearings on immigration. And I'm sure some of you heard her talk beforehand on immigration that I've heard was just marvelous today and so important. A frequent commenter on Latino electorate and immigration areas on television, radio, and print media, she is a graduate of Occidental, as well as Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, a U.S. Vote Foundation board member, a 2015 Presidential Leadership Scholar, and a member of the Ad Council's Advocacy Advisory Committee. She's previously served as manager of the Coalition for Comprehensive Immigration Reform, public policy coordinator for the Southwest Voter Research Institute, assistant director of the California-Mexico Project at the University of Southern California, organizer for the Ladies Garment Workers Union, and union representative for the Hotel Employees and Restaurant Employees Union, or HERE, Local 11. Clarissa, we thank you for coming back to campus today, and I'm honored to present you with the Alumni Seal for service to the community.
Just to be on time, I took a few notes. Well, first of all, buenas tardes, beautiful people. It's good to be home. Thank you, President Elam and the Oxy community. I am deeply grateful to the Oxy's Board of Governors and to my Shiro Angelica Salas from the class of 93 for this recognition. Honestly, there's not enough time to do justice to the many people at Oxy who had a hand in my formation here. And it's not an exaggeration to say that their role was life-changing. I I arrived at Oxy as a young, undocumented student whose immediate family was far away, and many people here stepped in. My life as a U.S. citizen is the result of legislation passed by a Democratic Congress and signed by a Republican president, and a result of the Oxy's then assistant dean of students, the director of financial aid, of international programs, and my boss at Upward Bound, who helped me navigate the process of legalization that put me on the path to citizenship. And all the while, professors and fellow students who guided and kept an eye on me, including several from the class of '87 who are gathered here this weekend. So you see, in addition to professors that inform what's in here, there were faculty, administrators, and students who, together with my family, helped shape what's in here. And they helped me grow my voice as an advocate, including speaking up for diversity here at Oxy. And I took those lessons all the way to the work I do today at Unidos US to ensure that the path to the voting booth is unimpeded for all Americans, to fight for an immigration system that our country can be proud of, and to unleash the country's greatest superpower, the strength of our diversity. So this award for service to the community is there for all of theirs and my family's as well. And the work for which it's given is my way of paying it back and paying it forward. Thank you for this recognition.
Thank you, Clarissa. I am pleased also to award Eddie Gordon, class of 2001, with the Alumni Seal Award for service to the community for his leadership in education. Eddie is an educator and a stand-up comedian in Los Angeles, who is a fierce proponent of restorative justice practices and has worked for over 20 years to create inclusive, community-driven educational spaces. His career in education has been a unique blend of opportunities to impact student lives as a teacher, athletic coach, instructional coordinator, restorative justice advisor, and now administrator. As an elementary school principal for the Los Angeles Unified School District, an adjunct professor for the University of San Diego, he works to put students first and champions youth advocacy in both academic and athletic endeavors. He is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated and the Lambda Rho chapter here at Occidental College. After graduating, he became a member of the Pasadena Alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, where he spearheaded the college's youth program and mentorship program for college. Taking on the role of principal in the middle of a global pandemic has had its challenges and certainly presented a rare opportunity to keep a community together. Through Zoom town halls, virtual faculty meetings, and videoed recorded morning announcement for students, he used all available resources to keep his stakeholders connected. To him, the work of building community has one important outcome: relationships. In Eddie's own words, the better we know each other, the better we are to each other. Please join me in welcoming Eddie Gordon, our Alumni Seal Award recipient for service to the community.
All right, Oxy, how we doing? Good, come on. All right. I will keep this brief. Thank you to the president. Thank you to the college and the board. I really am blown away by this recognition. I want to thank my wife, who's here today, and my two sons. My father came down from Northern California. I really appreciate my family being here. I want to thank my fraternity brothers who are here today. Yo to the noobs. And I'm lucky enough to have my college roommate in the crowd. Where you at? There we go. I brought my roommate here. Right. The work that I do with youth and students is reward enough. I get little trophies every day, every time I high-five a kindergartner or say what's up to a fifth grader. This recognition is unbelievable, but I feel it every single day working in the community. Recently, our country suffered some ridiculous tragedies at our schools, and it made me think of the quote by Mr. Rogers, and I don't want to butcher it, but basically it says, when there's trauma in the world, we ask our students to look for the helpers. There's always helpers out there doing good and reminding us of the good in humanity. And I'm extremely proud to be a helper, and I hope I inspire you guys to be helpers. Thank you so much, and let's keep it going. Thank you, guys.
This year's Erika J. Murray 01 Young Alumnus Award recipient is Jacob Stevenson. Sorry, Jacob. Class of 2008 for his leadership in Eagle Rock, Greater Los Angeles, and California. Jake is vice president of a privately held real estate firm in West Hollywood. He is currently serving a second term as president of the Los Angeles City East Area Planning Commission and is Governor Gavin Newsom's appointee to the California State New Motor Vehicle Board. He has served on the Los Angeles City Revenue Generation Commission and was previously elected to the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council. Jake is also a Planned Parenthood of Pasadena and San Gabriel Valley board member. He is a two-term member of the California Democratic Party State Central Committee and was recognized as the 2019 LGBT Heritage Month Person of the Year for Los Angeles City Council District 14. Jake credits his former boss, current U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra, as a lifetime mentor. Jake was proud to serve then U.S. Congressman Becerra in Washington, D.C., where he also helped to recharter the LGBT Congressional Staff Association. Jake is a first-generation college student and was a Centennial Scholar at Oxy. Today, he is an active alumni volunteer and is a member of the Board of Governors at Occidental. Congratulations, Jake.
All right, family. Harry, having grown up down the street on Ridgeview Avenue, I've known every president since Slaughter, and used to ride my tricycle in the old fountain, and don't anybody call Ted Mitchell, but I think you're my favorite. Thank you to my colleagues on the Board of Governors for this generous award. We cut it close. That young part of the Young Alumnus Award was like a couple months ago, but this truly doesn't belong to me. This award belongs to three phenomenal women who got me here. My mom, who was so determined when I was struggling in AP Calculus that she broke into the Mary Norton Clapp Library and hired a CAE tutor away from the school. I wanted to thank Ebonly Alvarado, who was my prom date at Egrog High School, who was very gentle with a young closeted gay boy and let me pick our flower and color motifs. Bless you. I wanted to thank Brittany Bagley, who is my class of 2008 hallmate and MSI best friend, the first person I met when I got to Oxy campus, who has given me a beautiful godson who reminds me of why we do this every day. And Daddy, thank you for being here. Thaddeus, I don't know why you put up with me, but God bless you for doing it. So thank you, Oxy.
Thank you, Jake. Can I have another hand for all our award winners? I now have the privilege of introducing our Alumnus of the Year, Brad Fauvre, class of 1987. And the Faculty Emeritus Award recipient, Professor Woody Studenmund. Now, as you may know, Brad was one of Woody's students in the 80s, and the two remain friends today. We're excited to have them both here today to discuss their time at Oxy and beyond. But first, a bit about both recipients. Brad Fauvre graduated from Occidental College in 1987, magna cum laude, with a major in economics and a minor in philosophy. As a student, Brad was active with the Occidental newspaper and the Charles R. Blythe Fund. While president of the Blythe Fund, the student-run investment group, Brad led the fund's divestment efforts from South Africa, which was part of a larger apartheid divestment campaign at the college, an issue that continues today as social and impact investing. In addition to broadening his knowledge and cultural horizons, Brad credits his Oxy education for instilling a lifelong love of learning, critical thinking, and clear communication. After college, Brad worked in management consulting and then attended the Harvard Business School, where he met his wife, Leilani. In 1989, Brad started Velocity Vehicle Corporation, or VVG, which operates commercial truck dealerships, an equipment finance company, and a full-service truck leasing company with over 80 locations in the U.S., Mexico, and Australia. Headquartered in Los Angeles, the company employs over 3,000 employees. VVG has been actively involved in various clean truck initiatives in California and elsewhere, including implementing the first dedicated natural gas heavy-duty trucks in the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Yes. VVG is also at the forefront of the transition to electric trucks in partnership with OEMs, utilities, and grant-writing bodies. In addition to spending time with his family, Brad enjoys skiing, mountain biking, car racing, and the arts. Brad has been involved with Homeboy Industries for many years, supporting their efforts to provide alternatives to gang life through counseling and jobs. Brad and Leilani also support the Unati Foundation, which operates an orphanage for girls in Nepal, among other organizations. Our heartiest congratulations, Brad. Touch them. Yeah. I think you can sit. Yeah, go stand. Woody Studenmund joined the Occidental faculty in 1970, and in a few weeks will retire after serving the college for 52 years, the longest tenure of any faculty member. Professor Studenmund has served the college in a variety of administrative posts, including Vice President for Student Services and Dean of Admission and Financial Aid. Over the course of his years here, Woody taught 17 different subjects to over 4,200 students, but his favorite course, by far, were applied econometrics and managerial economics. His primary professional interests are reflected in his textbook, Using Econometrics. The book currently is in its 7th edition and is one of the top-selling elementary econometrics texts at liberal arts colleges. Woody has received the Loss Gordon Award for Excellence in Teaching, the Yo Triumphi for contributions to Oxy's spirit of community, and the Genosik Award for service to the college. Thank you, Woody, for an incredible career at Oxy and for teaching and mentoring generations of Oxy students and alumni. I'll give it to Jamie.
Okay. You sure?
Well,
Here, I'll give it to Jamie.
My wife doesn't.
I'll keep it safe.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, Woody. Looks like the mics are working.
Yep. So we know it's hot out. So you let us know when we talk too much, we'll stop. Okay? Okay? But up until then, you got to put up with us. I talk about 55 minutes at a time. So let us know. Don't be afraid to tell me. I'm counting on you right there.
Awesome. Well, this is amazing to be here to talk a little bit about your 52-year career here at Occidental College. It's just incredible. That's the longest tenure of anyone, at least to date, and so you can provide perspective over that time that really nobody else can. So I'll try and get at some of those questions, and I think you're going to ask me a few questions too.
I'm going to make sure of that.
And we'll allow the audience to ask questions primarily, I'm sure, about Woody unless anybody has some burning truck questions, I'm ready. So first off, I mean, I think you came to Oxy over many other schools where you could have chosen to have a career, and it seems like you liked it. You stuck around for a while. So how did you choose Oxy, and why is that important to you?
There's a funny story and a true story. The funny story is when I flew out to interview, I flew out of Elmira, New York airport, and while I was gone, it warmed up. By the way, it's cold in Elmira in January. It warmed up, it rained, it froze down again, it snowed, and they plowed my car in. When I got there, my key there used to be things called keys that went into cars. My key would go in because the water had gone in and then it froze in the key lock. When I finally got that open, the battery was dead. When I finally got the battery going, my car had been plowed in by the snowplow. And when I got back to my home in Ithaca, I said, if they make me an offer, I'm going to accept. But there's a better reason, and that is when I was at Cornell, I realized what happens when people teach economics. I believe in teaching students, and that's why I came here.
Okay, great. I mean, for sure, the ability to really spend time with the students is what has made such a difference to pretty much all of us here, and why we're so passionate about the school and remains that way. And it's a unique opportunity here to be able to do that while still doing research. But somehow you managed to also then build the econ department really from scratch. So maybe you can tell us about that process and kind of how are we doing? How did you do?
So when I arrived here, there were 4 other economists, all white males. They all wore ties, and if you've seen the Occidental magazine, you know I wore one too, sort of. And during the hyperinflation of the late 1970s, they all got better jobs and doubled their salaries. And since I didn't care about money, which is why I married Janie, a HBS graduate, that was a joke. So I apologize. Should I tell you when I'm telling a joke? Would that make it easier? Would that make it easier for you? So how about if I go like this? Okay. I realized that I was the only one left, and I had a chance to build a department the way I wanted it to be. I didn't care. I shouldn't say this to my colleagues. I didn't care about research. Okay? I didn't care about where they went to school. What I care about was, could they teach? Could they interact with students? Could they make things better for their class? And so I went out and I asked people, who's the best teacher where you are? And they said, well, at Harvard, Robbie Moore's the best teacher. We hired him. At Williams, they said, well, we got a guy, he's only the second best. Jim Hall said, we hired him. At Wisconsin, they said, well, Jim Whitney's won the teaching award 5 times. We hired him. And we created a department of teaching superstars. And with that, we attracted students, which then helped us get more teaching slots. And at that point, I realized an all-white male faculty is not the way to go because it wasn't going to serve the needs of all of our students. And so we were able to diversify our hiring and also bring in excellent teachers at the same time. But the sole focus every single time was, can they teach? Everything else didn't matter. But I should ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
How the heck did you get into trucking?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break here. Harvard Business School, management consulting, magna cum laude.
It doesn't seem obvious. It doesn't kind of then follow. Hector might disagree. He gets it. But no, look, so my mom, if she was here, she would say that when I was a little kid, I used to watch the garbage truck roll up every week.
Yeah, my son too.
Yep. And she asked me, do you want to be a garbage man someday when you grow up? And I said, no, I want to be the truck. So it all came full circle. But honestly, that had nothing to do with it. The great thing about the Oxy education in economics and otherwise is that it teaches you to kind of see the full context in the system whilst having very deep analytics. So you encouraged me to go into management consulting after graduating, and for me that was just an awesome way to see real-world economics within the environment of business. And I think I was well equipped because at the time it was a really big thing. Michael Porter had this new book out called The Five Forces, and I read it, and it looked very much like a little book written in 1961 called Industrial Dynamics, which we read in Econ 101. And as far as I can tell, it was essentially the same stuff. So I felt super well equipped, you could immediately kind of see what the big picture issue was, and then go do the hard work of the detail, the analytics to be useful as a junior guy on a team. So for me, I was well prepared. It felt natural. And then you encouraged me to go to business school, and I think I found out something today, and you must have been hypnotizing me in class or something like that, but it turns out both of our wives somehow survived Catholic girls' school, went on to attend women's colleges, not far from each other in Massachusetts, and both went to Harvard Business School. So how about that for our wives? So we were pretty smart. Apparently we're the smart ones. So that was one of the things I learned at business school. So look, I was just interested in business generally, ended up working for a partner from BCG who had left to run the business of a family that had owned Holland America Lines and had a maritime and industrial and transportation assets. And we had seen my then roommate or office mate, who is now my partner, and I had seen a company as part of that was in transportation, that was doing truck dealerships, and it was the only business we could afford. So we bought it and moved here in 1998 and have been here for 24 years. And I've raised a beautiful family here. My beautiful daughter Maya is here today, which I'm very proud of. And it's been a neat way to reconnect with the college and just think of ways which I can be involved as an alum to help support it going forward.
Gotcha. Good. Congratulations.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Okay, I'm back at you. So let's just lighten it up for a minute. What was your most embarrassing class moment in 52 years?
So I could use up the entire rest of the hour talking about embarrassing moments. But the most embarrassing moment, well, there were two. So the very first class I taught at Oxy, I was 25, but very immature. The very first class, thank you. The very first class I taught at Oxy was an orientation seminar for freshmen. They'd set it up so that a professor and a senior would speak to about 15 freshmen to give them some insights about what class at Oxy would be like. So there I was. I walk in the room, sit down, and I'm just about to start the class when the senior says, well, I guess the professor's not coming, so let me start. So he proceeded to lead a great class. I was acting like a freshman, which is pretty easy for me to do. And thank you. And I ended up walking away realizing this guy's going to think I'm a freshman. Then he shows up in my class. So that was pretty embarrassing. But that was not the most embarrassing moment. I was teaching econometrics. I think I was in dummy variables at the time. And one of my students, about the second floor of Johnson. If you know Johnson, there used to be a terrific classroom on the northeast corner, which they made into offices for diplomacy and world affairs. We had no say over that. It's not a joke. And see, they even laugh when I don't tell them. No. And suddenly a student stands up and says, "That's it! I can't take it anymore!" And he runs and jumps out the window, second floor. You were there for that? Oh, Brenda, you have a great memory. Turned out a friend had set a mattress down below. So he knew it was happening. But believe me, that was not only, what would you call it, frightening at the same time as embarrassing.
That's a shocker.
So I thought it was my teaching, but they just did it on purpose. They did it as a joke. There was back then they were called RFs, which we won't tell you exactly what it stands for, but you probably remember what an RF stands for anyway. No, you don't. That's good. That's good. So I got one for you.
Okay.
So what about Oxy has helped you running a trunk company? I mean, I don't see it. What about our department? Okay, it helps you steer.
It does. It helps you steer. I think that's great. No, look, I mean, when I came, we had this option for general, sort of the GED called Collegium, and it was a way. It was team taught, so you had mathematics historians, English professors, scientists teaching all of their subjects in a way that showed them how they developed over time thematically and how they influenced each other. And that was absolutely, just transformative for me in the way I think about things. And it was a way to meet a group of kids that became my fast friends, still to this day, who were in that group together. I don't think it survived kind of the politics of the faculty not understanding it for those faculty members who weren't a part of it, but it was a very special thing. But it taught you to see how things interrelate, right? And the big picture. And then also we had to dig in and, support our ideas with very, very deep critical thinking and reading and writing. I think reading and writing is by far, obviously, providing written output has been the most important piece of that. because in order to write clearly, you have to think clearly. And we had, in the end, our senior thesis, and it's something that the econ department, which is still the largest department, doesn't have the chance to give all students today, and it was required of us all then. So one thing I'm passionate about as an alum is trying to help the college get better coverage of teaching professors so that they can have time to do senior theses with their kids, because that was a terrifying experience, which really made you focus very deeply on something and, basically stand to the committee and prove why you think you're right. I was interested in worker-owned firms at the time in Yugoslavia and why they worked and didn't work perfectly, and sort of just that curiosity and love for learning is what Oxy taught me, and critical thinking that has been helpful all along.
Good. Well, thank you. You're a living example of the collegium. You're right. The collegium did drop out in part because of a lack of faculty who wanted to teach in it.
Fair enough. We had some crappy students in there. I don't blame them. Tough, very difficult. Very difficult. Okay, so not only were you, an incredible professor, but you also spent some time in the administration, including being, dean of admissions. So maybe tell us a little bit about that and why that was important to you.
So it'll probably be hard for you, President Elam and others, to remember this. Jeannie Cushman might, but in the mid-1990s, we ran into some financial problems, and we had trouble attracting students. Right now we have, 550 students in the entering class, something like that. In maybe 1995, we had 270. And we realized that if we kept going in that direction, the college either was going to fail or have to downsize dramatically. President Slaughter asked me on October 1st, if you know admissions, that's probably not time to start your job as Dean of Admission. President Slaughter asked me to become Dean of Admissions on October 1st. And my job was to bring in as many students as possible who still met the faculty requirements for admissions. So we refused to change the bottom line, which was, can you succeed here or not? Well, we had to bring in more students. And oh, by the way, I had to keep net tuition revenue for the Board of Trustees happy as well. And we did it. We brought in 440 students, which is my favorite number. But more importantly, we brought in a successful class that graduated at a very high rate. And people have asked me since then, how did you do that? And I have to admit, one of the reasons that I did is because my wonderful wife, Janie, had been a manager for a long time. I'd watched how she ran teams. I watched how she used incentives and personal relationships to build for success. And I basically tried to run our admissions office as if it were a little teeny business with a goal of achieving a certain number of students with a particular number of academic attributes. And the team responded superbly. They loved it. They worked together. If someone couldn't do something, someone else pinch hit for them. If people had to work together, it wasn't a problem. And we brought in a class that was successful with a high graduation rate. And I think one other thing we did was the admissions used to be in the bottom of the administration building, hard to get to, hard to park. President Slaughter and I moved it to what used to be the faculty club, parking lot right outside, right at the outside of campus, and it helps students become more attractive. So I'm very happy with that. I was also very happy to stop being Dean of Admission and to let Bill Tingley take my place and go back to teaching.
No, it's just a great example of your total passion and commitment for this place. I mean, we're very so lucky to have had you in so many ways. Well, I'm going to ask a question that decades upon decades of students probably are wondering, which is what inspired you to write a book on econometrics?
So this goes back to my previous statement, which was that I believe in teaching students. I don't teach economics. It's a subtle distinction, but it's an important one. All the econometrics books at that time used matrix algebra, and they had lots of proofs in them. And they produced students who didn't know how to actually use econometrics, which is an extremely useful tool. You certainly used it at HBS and in your job. And I was distraught. When I was the TA for econometrics at Cornell, I was flabbergasted about how this famous econometrician did a terrible job of teaching his students. And students who came out really didn't know anything. The way I learned econometrics was to use it. So I was so unhappy with my textbook, I wrote a substitute chapter for this famous book and used it. And the students loved it. So I wrote another one. Students loved that as well. And that's what got me to write the book. It's for the students. Admittedly, maybe I made $30,000 extra a year now and then. But the reason I wrote it was for the students. But I got one for you.
Okay.
you've dedicated a lot of time to Oxy, and yet you're running a truck company. You're a hotshot business person. Why Oxy? Why are you spending so much time? MBAs aren't supposed to do that kind of thing. Why are you spending so much time making the world a better place?
Well, I would challenge that they're not supposed to do that kind of thing. But just for me personally, look, it made such an influence on my life, and you specifically, Woody, because you took an interest in me personally, and that changed the arc of my career and my professional and my personal life. So I feel just because of that, it's something that I've always wanted to do is think of a way to give back. And because it's primarily a student-led, student-focused institution, that's meaningful to me. The fact that it's liberal arts and not overly specialized, I think is more important in today's environment, much more important with all the uncertainty, the rate of change, even with technology. I think it's important to think about still what's important and what can I do to make things better, and that's what this place tends to teach you. So I think the importance of a liberal arts education is maybe now higher than ever. And I think, it's right now is a great time to be supporting the college because we're really focused as an institution on making opportunity for everyone. So the Campaign for Good is really focused on access and opportunity, amongst other things. So the first two things I'm interested in are helping continue the legacy of our teaching professorships. So I'm supportive there, supportive on access, which we're really pushing. And I think lastly, and this was important for me, for being, I think, as heavily involved as I've become, is I was really excited to see our next president in Harry. I'm really excited about Harry. I think Harry brings a dimension with his background in the arts, his experience with a large institution that's become very successful, and his commitment to being integrated into the community of Los Angeles that's going to make this an even a better place than it's ever been. That's exciting to me. I want to be a part of that, and I think it's going to provide more opportunities for everyone, no matter their background, to receive the education that they can get at Oxy and then go out and bestow it upon the world and make it a better place. So that's why I'm interested in Oxy.
So we've been talking for a bit, but we'd be glad to try to answer questions.
Wait, I just have one more.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just one more. And and you're right, it's about time we stopped talking, so it's up to you now, which is you had 52 years. Sadly, we can't get another 52 out of you. What do you think Oxy is going to be like if you were to look ahead in that time? What do you see? What would you like us to do in your honor? How should we move forward, Woody, from your perspective?
Yick. I think we want to be welcoming of all students. We're the liberal arts college in Los Angeles. We should be providing a liberal arts education for every single student. And say this very carefully, that should include all races, all genders, I guess, or 4 or 5 of them now, all points of view, all religions, but also all political points of view. So I don't want us to get to the point where we are too far left or too far right, so that we only attract one kind of student. I want to make sure we're meeting the needs of all the students of California. Second thing is, and my faculty colleagues are going to hate me for saying this, I don't think research is that important. You need, my book was a bestseller, so what? What really matters is what did my students take away from my classes? And if we're to the point where tenure depends upon whether you get your 4th article done in 5 years instead of just 3 or whatever, that's the problem. How is that person teaching? And if we tenure somebody who isn't teaching well because they happen to publish a lot, that's a problem too. Now please don't tell my colleagues I said this. Because let's face it, I'm in a minority on the faculty. I really believe that my time should be spent with students, and my writing should be writing that benefits students, and that's what I've tried to do for 52 years. So if you want to honor me 50 years from now, I'm hoping, I shouldn't say this, I probably won't be alive at that point, but if you want to honor me 52 years from now, let's have a faculty focused on student empowerment, student education, and research comes only as a necessity for showing you know the material you're teaching to the students.
Well, I'm glad I asked that final question. That's absolutely great.
So now we can open the floor to questions. Well, if there are no questions, that's great.
Hi, Don Van Outta, class of whatever it was, 1972. I didn't take a class from you because I managed to avoid taking all but one economics class, which proves something. I'm a political scientist, and that's my question. I have been an academic, albeit not a very good one, and what I know about the academic business is that what you just said is not very popular, not only perhaps with some of the Occidental faculty, but also with certainly a lot of the professional associations and the folks who want to make careers in academics. And that raises I mean, what you said is right. What Oxy did that was amazing, aside from tolerating me, was that it taught us all a lot of things very far beyond the kinds of things you learn at a research university. But what you just said is going to have the effect of making our faculty stuck here, because the world still is rewarding research. How can we recruit good faculty who care about teaching and not find that we're having to very much narrow down what we get? I'm sorry, that's a loaded question and it's a hard one, but it's the one that comes from what you've just said.
So the word suck would have come to mind, in all honesty, because when I talk about teaching and research and service, what I'm really saying is that right now most academic places put research first, teaching second, service third. I'm saying teaching first, research second, service third. That doesn't mean your research can suck and you still be here, to quote you. What that really means is that we want to go after people who are great teachers and also very, very good researchers. And that's what a liberal arts college can do, because our faculty don't have to publish 100 articles to be famous, to get jobs here. But would I have said that if I thought that supported what we're already doing? No, I'm suggesting something different. He asked me, what about 52 years from now? Maybe 52 years from now, there'll be universities and colleges, and the colleges are where you want to go, because that's where you actually learn something. And then we wouldn't suck.
Hi. What will you miss the most?
Absolutely, the students. That was an easy question. Thank you for asking that. The students are so phenomenal. I love the students. I'll miss my faculty colleagues as well. But being around students keeps me young, energizes me. It's basically my reason for living, that and my family. That's the reason for living. Well, maybe the Dodgers. But yeah, the students. I'll miss the students, absolutely. Because when you have a student in your class who's not doing well, and you ask them to come see you, and you give them suggestions about how to do better, and they do better, and they graduate, and 20 years later you see them as being a success, that's so incredibly rewarding you can't even put it in words. Although I just did.
So, Woody, what? I'm over here.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Joe.
Yes. What precisely do you consider to be the qualities of a good teacher?
We just had to address this question because we changed our teaching evaluation system here at Oxy. Well, thanks for asking, Joe. I really appreciate that question. Three components. The first component is keeping the students active, energized, and interested in learning. If I ever took a class after track practice, nothing stuck in my brain. That was it. I was too tired. So you want to keep the students involved. What I found was if I see a student falling asleep, next thing I want to talk about, tell a joke now and then. It's okay to tell a joke now and then. Even if it's not a funny joke, I say, listen, you might as well laugh at my bad jokes because that gives me an incentive to tell better ones in the future. And that also helps students learn about incentives at the same time. So keeping them energized, excited, and enthusiastic. Second is seeing them as people outside the classroom. Who looks like she's really worried about something? Who's not showing up to class? Who isn't doing what he's capable of doing now and then? And if you pay special attention to those students and try to help them figure out what their problem is. We don't need a student dean to do that. The professor is the first person who will see that happening. The professor can intervene and try to help that student. If the student has the problem in all 4 of their classes, then we need the student dean as well. But I think helping the students as human beings, as people. And the last thing is being successful later on, teaching them skills, practice, habits, energy, enthusiasm, caring about the people, all the skills you need, writing, speaking, critical thinking, all the skills you need to be successful in the future. You don't have to be a superstar Disney, whatever it is you do. I never could quite figure it out. A Disney person. You could be the world's best truck person. Or the real question is, if you set out to do something, have you acquired the skills and background and energy to accomplish the goal you set for yourself? That's what I would say.
Great answer.
Hey, hi, I'm Wayne, class of 72, and I did take a couple of classes from
you.
Hey,
Wayne, good to see you.
Yeah, you actually advised my senior paper. But anyway, and actually this question is for both of you, because one of the things, I know you kind of addressed it, but one of the things I think Occidental did really well, and you, Woody, did very well for me, is going on to professional school. I think, in your case, going to business school, which I also did. But for a lot of you that went on for graduate degrees, and I think maybe you can comment on what kinds of, I know we're going to talk about like critical thinking skills and so forth, but how did you prepare us so well, to be able to succeed in no matter what the school or how prestigious the school is? Because that was very important to me that, you were able to prepare me for that. So.
You want to take that first?
No, I mean, I think it's the same, sure. I think it's the same thing we just talked about. It's really not about a specific set of learnings, although that's important, right, for sure. So, I'm interested in basically making kids here successful in whatever it is they choose to do. So if they want to work at an NGO, if they want to become a physician, if they want to work in government, if they want to work in business, great. Well, how do we make you as successful as we can possibly? Well, obviously there's a minimum amount of actual material you got to learn, especially if you want to be a physician, that's super specific to your field. But it's really about those greater skill sets. I think that, again, a liberal arts education is uniquely position to teach that's even more important today given the level of uncertainty out there. So I would just go back to those same things which Woody, I think, defined pretty clearly.
Yeah, I would agree with those, and I added in a couple of other thoughts. One of them is, if you want to be a doctor, you got to be taking a certain set of classes and preparing for a certain set of exams. If you want to be something else, you got to. So we have to understand what the student needs to have a shot at getting into graduate school in the profession they're excited about. So as much as I can talk about taking classes that you want and learning things you want, etc., you have to make sure that the professor understands what the student's going to need to get where they want to get. And the second thing is, in all honesty, I think you need to think about what skills they're going to need to be successful in that program. You can't just teach critical thinking, writing, and speaking and hope that'll work for everything. It may well be, if you want to get a PhD in economics, you darn well better know some math, some econometrics, etc. beyond that. So that those two things factor in, so that what that really says is the professor has to talk to the student, understand what the student wants, and then try to devise a program for that student's individual needs that helps them accomplish what they want to accomplish in the future.
Woody is Dave, and I'm way back here on the way back, kind of.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Nice hat.
Thank you. Well, I'm trying to get everybody else to wear them, and nobody seems to be following.
Did you invest in a hat company?
That's it, like a truck hat. No, my question is that a lot of the students coming into college today want interdisciplinary majors. We hear about that often, and the question is about the faculty. You and the rest of the faculty reacting to and creating courses and interacting and all the things necessary. How do you respond to students wanting those interdisciplinary majors?
First, I'm not 100% sure that that what you said is correct. We don't see it. We see people wanting to double major as opposed to get interdisciplinary majors. So I'm not sure you're right. But the answer is, at a place like Oxy, you can do that. You can take two majors. We do allow joint majors. You can even develop your own major and get it approved by a committee of 3 faculty and the registrar. So we allow that to happen. So I think in all honesty, we're getting pretty close to doing that as well. I would argue to a student, though, who wants to take her second major or her minor, etc., saying, are you doing this to help achieve your educational goals, or are you doing this to get some lines on a piece of paper? If it's for your educational goals, that's just fine. But if you're trying to impress somebody because you got a minor in Spanish, no, just write down you can speak Spanish. That's all they care about. Eso es perfecto. Thank you, Brenda.
All right.
You too. I was going to say one last thing to the group.
Oh, please.
Oh,
I
you're
didn't
gonna
want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
So I want to thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being the people you are. This is the day I will never forget. Well, I can't say that because who knows Alzheimer's. But this will be the last day I forget. Okay. But I want to say something to you because whenever I finished a class, I would tell my students what their assignment was for the next day. If you think about the world right now, we're probably facing more challenges, more different challenges than any group before us. There was World War II, there was the pandemic of 17, 18, etc. But we're facing a lot of different challenges, many, many different challenges. And when someone asks me what I'm going to do with my retirement, sure, I'm going to do as little as possible. I'm going to go on a cruise, spend time with my family. And I'm also going to spend some time trying to make the world a better place. And so my assignment to you is, A, thanks for coming, but now bad news, you got an extra assignment. Pick something out. The drought, global warming, whatever it is. If you're a Republican or Democrat, pick something out and make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Woody and Brad, so very much for that insightful and thought-provoking conversation. And thank you, Woody, for the homework assignment. I think you're spot on. Those of us who had the privilege to graduate from Occidental came away with those skills that the two of you just talked about in so many ways, and I do believe we have an obligation to use those to contribute to a better world. Woody, you and I came to Oxy about the same time, my senior year, so I didn't have the privilege of taking one of your courses. But as someone who spent a career in higher education, your decades to Oxy are unusual and significant. I recall, like I said, I was a senior, I was focusing on finishing my American Studies major, but you made a visible splash even that year, your very first year, and I wasn't an econ major.
Not all for good, though, you have to admit.
Well, yeah, that's a matter of perspective. The splash part, I think, was certainly in keeping with the activities and ethics of the years that I was at Oxy. We had lots of splashes in those days. And Brad, thank you so much for your continued service to Oxy, and congratulations on your Alumnus Year Award. It's certainly well-deserved. Also, for those of you who don't know, Brad is also a member of the Board of Trustees of the college, so his commitment will continue on in many significant ways as well. I want to thank and recognize the achievements of all of the recipients of the Alumni Awards this year. You each have shown and contributed in your own ways to that better world, and you've made Oxy proud. So thank you all very much for coming, and I hope you'll continue by perhaps joining the affinity groups that are meeting, and then certainly the class receptions this afternoon and evening. Thank you, everybody. I remember when I heard that story, because he was at FISIC, and the guys who put the mattress down took it out of